Hey guys, Jordan here. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm here to talk about how to create space for change in your life, which is super cool. This video is long overdue. Way back in like October or November, I did a poll on my Instagram asking, my followers what it was I wanted to talk about, and they decided this one. And then after the poll was done, I thought about it more, and I decided that I wanted to see through kind of this experience in my life that I was going through, so I could therefore collect all the data and really truly come from a place of experience and knowledge and all that junk. Also, disclaimer here, I'm not a counselor, I'm not a psychologist, I'm literally just a girl living life and observing myself and my experiences, and I just hope that someone out there can just take from that. So again, I'm not professional, I'm literally just a person. Okay, great, let's just jump into it. So I've created 6 steps that you can sort of hone to create the space for change. Scratch that. What I mean by creating space for change is, in life, I've experienced that it's like life is like a canvas, right? And when there's all this stuff on the canvas, you can't add more. There's no room for it, or if so, you're gotta wedge it in there, and it's just messy. It's a big, messy place. But if you erase or white out a piece of that art, you're creating space for change. And in my experience, I've seen how the universe has a tendency to not bring in the new because the old is clouding not only physically your life, but also mentally and emotionally. And you truly are this being, this capsule that can only contain so much. So that's what I mean by creating space for change. And basically this video will hopefully help you get started on that. Great, let's do it. Number 1, first step to creating space for change is do the work. Have the grit. Grit, the definition of grit is having the capacity and the drive to finish long-term goals. Grit is something that there's been studies on. Scientists don't know where it comes from, why people have it, or where people get it, but it's something inside of you, we know, that is possible to achieve and possible to hone. And I think first step is recognizing whether or not you have the grit to create the space for change. If you're willing to put in the work for a year, 2 years, a lifetime, you have to have the fire within yourself to make these changes, or else they won't follow through. Find the grit within yourself. It's all accessible to us. You just have to find where inside of you it is and how in certain aspects of your life it tends to be brought out. What is your passion? What is your dream? What is the thing that you want so bad in this life that you're willing to sacrifice anything for and work as long or as hard as you can to achieve? Step number 2 is acknowledge your demons and learn to dance with them. As humans, the hardest thing for us is to point out our own flaws. Every day in life, it's so easy to look at someone else and the way they're living their life or something that they're doing and be able to point and pick at everything that they're doing and say what's wrong with it. But when it comes to reflecting on ourselves, we have a hard time facing those things because we don't want to see ourselves as bad, negative people with bad, negative traits, but we all have them. They exist within us, and it's yin and yang. You're not one without the other. You can't be a good person without having your faults, because without your faults, you'll never learn or experience the good. Reflecting and acknowledging our demons, the things that deter you away from grit, things that you have a hard time committing to, such as laziness, mental health is another one. And these demons, again, aren't negative, and I lack of a better word, they're not negative or bad qualities, they're tools. And I want people to understand that our demons are not bad things unless we allow them to be. we can always manifest that energy and turn it into something else, because again, they're going to exist either way, you know? And this step can be really, really hard. Us as humans, we don't like to look at ourselves and see the bad sides or the negative traits or qualities that we hold, but it's so important to recognize those things, because it's going to continue to subconsciously or even consciously alter your life in a direction that you might not want it to go. So by acknowledging those demons and making friends with those demons and learning how to work with them and dance with them is such an important thing in life. Like, for example, I have horrible anxiety, and when I was younger, I would feel this anxiety and I would get so overwhelmed, I would just shut down. And I would just lay in bed all day and not accomplish anything that I wanted to get done. And my dreams and goals would be halted. My grit was no longer there. It was suppressed by this anxiety. And then one day, after, again, learning about self-help and about myself, I learned to look at that anxiety as a tool. The anxiety is like a fire alarm that's going off and saying, hey, there's smoke in here, and it's clouding your judgment, it's clouding your path, and you no longer can see. What are you going to do about it? And I now channel that anxious energy into productive energy. Even if I only cross off one thing off my to-do list that day, it is a step in conquering it. And now, the next time this happens, maybe you'll X off 2 things off that to-do list. And it's just a constant learning experience. And again, learning about those demons and embracing them and welcoming them. I would welcome this anxiety. I would welcome that fire alarm into my life and maneuver it and play with it and learn it. And it's just changed my life in the most beautiful, empowering way, And by empowering, I mean it makes you feel like you have control, allowing you to follow through with that grit and getting to your goals and achieving those long-term goals that can be so hard to do. Don't be scared of your demons. I cannot stress that enough. Do not shut them out. Do not suppress them. Do not be afraid of them, and don't be conquered by them. It is there for a reason. You are a being of light and beauty, and it can work. I'm telling you, it can work. Step 3 to finding the space and creating that space for change is trusting your intuition. Something that we as humans tend to do is, and something I'm guilty of, and I still kind of do and have to remind myself not to do, is second guessing yourself. You are a being, you are a human, you've experienced things. Our intuition is the voice inside of our head. It's that little voice that says, when you get in your car, did you turn that light off in your room? Or did you forget your cell phone charger in your backpack on your way to class? Just little things like that. Like, that is your intuition. That's it telling you, it's telling you, no, you didn't turn off that light. No, you left your charger at your friend's house the other day, or it's still plugged in your outlet. Just by honing that intuition and truly trusting it and listening to it is so important. And just by listening to it in little steps like that, even if you go check your bedroom and the light is off, just by entertaining that idea, you will start to grow your intuition and open yourself up to that voice inside your head, that energetic sensitivity to the world around you. And it's a sixth sense that is powerful. And it's another way to interact with the world that we live in and exist in. I have another example here. So when I first decided that I wanted to hone my intuition, this was probably about 3 or 4 years ago, I wanted to hone that intuition. So I started, like I said, listening to that little voice in my head that would tell me these little things or remind me of things I was forgetting. And I was at work one day, and at this point I was seeing this guy. We had stopped seeing each other. I had no business texting him or messaging him at this point, but I was at work, and then I just felt, I was like, something's wrong with him. Something's not right. And again, ego, myself came in and was like, don't text him. You have no business texting him. You have no reason to, whatever. And then I was like, no. Swiping that, I'm just going to listen to my intuition. I am going to text him just to see. So I text him, hey, like, I got this weird feeling. Are you okay? I shit you not, he texts me back immediately and he's like, actually, I'm not. I just drove my car into a ditch. Like, what? And everyone, I cannot stress enough the power that you have and that everyone has to access stuff like that, and how that can truly bring up so much stuff and can truly get you to act on things. Again, that one wasn't really relevant, but to like creating space for change, but just practicing, honing that intuition can so be beneficial to creating space for change, because you'll know what to do, if that makes sense. You'll know that something's not right. You so know what is taking up space that isn't allowing the universe to introduce beautiful, life-changing things, experiences, people into your life. You so know what you need. I cannot stress that enough. I'm looking at you directly right now. You know. I'm telling you. You do know, and I believe in you. Number 4, align your polarity to what you desire. And what I mean by that is that, again, we are beings of energy and light and stardust and all that stuff. But when I say align yourself to whatever it is that you want to be brought into your life, or these changes that want to be made, I mean, you have to believe it. You have to want it. And it's something energetically that you can do. You have to create, not only physically and emotionally aligning yourself to whatever it is you want to invite into your life, you also have to energetically do that. You have to, again, create the space for change. You have to align your physical life. Like, is it your job? Is it a friend that is just draining? Is just an energetic leech for you? Is it a job that's an energetic leech for you? What is it that is dragging you so low that it's making your polarity less and less accessible for the universe and for people or your job to understand what it is that you want to change, what it is that needs to be altered for you to live your most beautiful, most full, happy life. I suffer from depression. I suffer from bipolar 3. I totally get it, how some days amping yourself up can be so hard. Every day, just by practicing and faking it till you make it is so essential. Bring in that, like, you want to be a happy person, you want positive changes in your life, then you have to embody yourself and pretend that you are positive, that you are happy, even though that day might be awful. Like, you barely scraped yourself out of the bed to go do things. You barely were able to fake that smile to that customer or to that coworker. But the more you fake it and the more you believe it, it eventually happens. Our mind is a tool. It is not our being. Our being is our soul, is our heart. And our mind is just a tool for us to use and for us to decide how we're going to manipulate it to create this beautiful experience that we are so lucky to have as humans on Earth. You can trick your mind. I always tell my students and I always tell my friends, like, you can trick your mind into believing something that isn't true, because it's just a tool. It's just a tool. You can literally alter it and use it on whatever you want. But just by practicing, and again, just taking the time and practice to achieve and to incorporate that into your life it's different. It's hard at first. I'm not saying this is easy. Coming back to our first step, having the grit to persistently practice these steps is so essential. And I cannot stress enough how much I believe in you, because for a long time I didn't believe in myself, and now, you know, after addressing this when I'm 18, I'm about to be 23, and my life is so different. The things that are brought into my life, like, I get more and more blessings every day just by believing that I deserve them, and by tricking the mind into saying I'm happy. Because now I'm happy. Even on days where I shouldn't be happy, I still find a reason to smile. It's so quick now. It's like muscle reflex just to find the positive. It's just awesome. Align yourself to what you desire in your life, even if it's hard. Step number 5 to creating the space for change: create the space. Create the space. Physically, emotionally, and spiritually. For example, one of the hardest things I ever had to do, and this is kind of where all this came from, was, just talking about it makes me just cringe, because it was one of the hardest decisions I ever had to make. I was in-home support for a child with autism for 2 years. 5, 6, 7 days a week, the least 4 when I was in my yoga training, my yoga teacher training. I was with this child and he depended on me. As an in-home support, you help him do everyday tasks. I would get him off the bus, help him go to bed at night, take him out to places, and I watched him truly grow. He was nonverbal, so he was having a really tough time. But by the end of the first year, the burnout was real. And by burnout, I mean, like, he needed so much energy, and on top of the fact, you're not only there for him, but I'm in the home. And there's his mom, his dad, and 2 siblings that, like, you know, they would just open up to me and they got more comfortable with me. So I was taking on not just his emotional weight and his everyday life struggles, but I was taking on the families as well. And therefore, I just was washed. I was just literally burnt out. But I loved them and cared for them so much that it was so hard to create that boundary, because I just wanted to be there. I loved them. I wanted to be there for them. And for 6 months, I just knew that I had to quit. I had to not work for them anymore. And that was something that I didn't want to do. I don't like letting people down. But then eventually I got mono, that sickness that lasts in your immune system, and it's totally awful, and you're sleepy and exhausted and your body hurts. And I couldn't work for them anymore. Due to one of the parents' conditions, her immune system was also shut down. So by me being sick, I could have gotten her sick, and she could have gotten chronically ill. So like the universe just created the space for me, really. And I just couldn't work for them anymore. But sometimes the universe doesn't do that. Sometimes you have to make these super hard decisions and cut off these ties that are, again, clouding up your canvas, where the universe can no longer add something new and different and more beneficial and healthy for you. That was the hardest thing for me. And it's not easy. It's not easy cutting off that friend that is draining you, even though you love them so much, but they are constantly taking your energy, your spiritual, emotional, and physical time and energy. It's not easy. It hurts. It's hard. But the things that can come afterwards, when you have created that space, is, again, life-changing. I would never thought I'd be sitting here today with all my blessings that I have now, and Lord knows where I would be if I still had that job. Like, physically and emotionally, like, I might be in a mental hospital right now for all I know, or an angry person with nothing to show for it. And because I was working so hard and I wasn't getting the right pay, and now I'm in a space where I'm respected by my coworkers. I love my jobs. I believe in my jobs, and I was able to carry that same love and support I had for that family and bring it into something else. And I can only live my life hoping that they understand. And if not, you got to be selfish. You have to be selfish and take care of yourself, and again, create the space to create the life that you want and deserve, because you only have one. It's not easy. I cannot stress that enough in this video. It's not easy, but you have to have the grit. You have to listen to your intuition. You have to cut ties that are hard and painful to do. And the results are, all I can say is life-changing. Like, there truly are no words to what it can do for you. Ah, shit. And then for our last step to create the space for change, is don't trap the future inside of a box with expectations and predetermined ideas. That's a long one, but trust me, this is so important. I'm the queen of anxiety, my lovely demon that I just love so much. I would hold these expectations for things that just were out of my control. And the gifts that the universe give you, again, is something that's out of my control. I can't tell the universe when I want it now, or expect things of people, or even of job offers or things, or even, I can't even guarantee on tomorrow, shoot. Really the only thing in your life that you have full control over is yourself and your emotions and how you react to everyday things. It's to take things day by day. And one of my favorite quotes to say is to have goals with loose ends. With grit, you need something to drive towards. So it's always important to drive towards things and to have set goals and aspirations and dreams, but it's never going to go as planned. Every great, amazing, beautiful thing that has ever happened in my life has never gone by plan. Ever. It has just showed up in its own way, and it's just, I've never saw it. It's always blindsided me. I've never seen it coming. And the way things should be, or the steps that you have so strategically put into place isn't usually the path to get you where you want to go. Again, trusting your intuition, trusting the universe, trusting the process. And with someone with anxiety, it can be really, really hard. But once you let go of that, you let go of the stress, one. And two, it allows the universe to truly have the space to work, the space to put things into certain places to therefore create and bring into your life what it is that you want, that goal, for you to achieve that goal. That can be hard. It's also hard. So hard. What I mean by don't trap the future inside of a box. So if you're like, okay, this is how it's going to go, this is how it's going to be, this is how I'm going to get here. There's not a lot of wiggle room inside this box. There's not a lot of things that can be done, things that can twist around and bend. But just by allowing everything to be and to not, I guess, conflict what the universe has in store for the path, to not put these roadblocks of expectations of people or the path, just allows it just to move quicker. I swear. Allows you to be worry-free and more open. Stress can be a very clouding, distracting thing, but just by trusting and just by not having these expectations and just knowing, if I stay persistent, if I keep working hard, if I hang on to this grit and keep going, keep practicing listening to my intuition, and keep, as hard as it is, removing these things that are just in my way and are clouding that space, eventually it will come. And I'm talking from experience. I truly, truly am. And yeah, in my experience, in my life, and again, going through one of the hardest decisions I ever had to make, and to be in a space where all my rewards, and maybe not even all of them, but where so many rewards have been reaped from following these steps, I hope you find them helpful, or maybe even one or two steps. You don't have to listen to me. Again, I'm just a girl talking on YouTube, but I cannot stress enough how much my life has changed in the past year. I'm so happy. I have honed grit, something I did not have growing up in my life because I just did not know what direction to go into. I didn't have goals that were realistic or aligned with myself and my polarity. And it takes time, as how hard this is and how time consuming and how there's a lot of ups and downs and failures and grief and learning there is, but the outcome, what the universe fills into the space is it's worth it. It's so worth it. I can't stress enough how worth it is. And I also cannot stress enough how much I believe in you and how much love you should have and how much trust you should have in yourself. That can be the hardest thing. our demons and trusting ourselves can be really, really difficult to grasp, but they're there. It's so in there, and you can do it. You can do this. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I hope this was helpful. Like this video, subscribe to my channel, and my door is always open. I'm mostly on Instagram. Follow me there. My DMs are always open. I'm a very busy person, but I will get back to you. If I don't respond, it's because I want to be invested and fully in what I'm saying to you. So thank you for patience, I guess. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you all have a rest of your week wow, words. I hope the rest of your week is beautiful and great.